Hi, my name is Pam Denny. I'm an analytics architect for IBM's Maximo asset management product. I'm so excited today to highlight new features of Maximo 7606, which was introduced on October 21st, 2016. This release builds upon Maximo 7605, which we introduced earlier this summer, and the introduction of the new Maximo Work Centers, or what we call Maximo X. So, what are those Maximo Work Centers? Well, there's an example shown here of the business analyst. A work center is a role focused display of Maximo actions and data. In this case, our business analyst is someone who's very focused on analyzing data for themselves, other Maximo users, or non Maximo users. Other work centers that we made available in 7605 were a supervisor and a technician, and in 7606 you'll also see a new work center for a self-service application. But let's get back to the business analyst and focus on the new features again that are available for Maximo 7606. When you first look at this work center, you might say, hey, it looks exactly the same as Maximo 7605. But this is where the really exciting, fun stuff starts to come into play. If you remember in Maximo 7605, we had the concept of a data set. And that data set is a collection of fields or attributes that we analyze. Maybe we're analyzing information on work orders or assets or purchase orders. And we collect these attributes and we export them to CSV to analyze, or we export them to Watson. But the problem with 7605 is those data sets were fixed. They were actually a set of delivered object structures that you could analyze, but the concern is that you don't have the ability to customize those easily. You don't have the ability to create new ones that you need or to modify the ones that we deliver. And we all know that you all customize the Maximo database. You have industry solutions and business partner products. So whatever we deliver out of the box doesn't meet your unique requirements. So now we're so excited to introduce the Dataset Library. It looks very similar to what you had seen in 7605, and we still deliver some datasets to you out of the box, but most importantly, we enable you to create new ones. There's two ways you can create a new dataset. You can click New right here within this panel or this pane, or you can utilize the new navigation bar up here on the top left-hand side. This icon, we call it a hamburger icon. Think of two buns and a hamburger in the middle. If you click on it, you'll see the list of all the work centers or applications you have access to. Well, let's quickly create a new data set so you can start to see how the pieces and the functionality come into play. The first page is actually where you can start to select which objects you're going to build your data set from. So again, remember, a data set is a collection of attributes that you're going to analyze. And you're simply going to follow the wizard up here on the top to build the content. Well, let's take something very, very simple. I'm just going to take a couple of fields from asset and related objects. And again, the way the Dataset Designer works is I selected my main object set, and now here's all the various objects and attributes that are available to me. So let me just take a couple and see what happens. Well, we always want to grab my asset number and my asset type so I can add those fields. But let me also do some sorting or filtering really quick. I'm going to grab an install date, maybe my status date. And you'll notice as I search, not only am I searching across my parent asset, but any of the child attributes that have data associated with it. Well, let's grab my total cost. Let's grab downtime. We always want to see what's going on with our downtime. I'm going to grab that attribute value. Maybe I'm just going to grab also site really quickly, and I'll also grab manufacturer. And so I've got a couple of nice fields there, and you can see them over here. I can also click on the preview button. But again, I'm going to hold on getting into a lot of details on those features until a subsequent video releases where we'll delve into the details of each field and each action. So now when I come to the next page, I've selected my objects, my attributes. What kind of filter do I want to apply? Well, I don't always want to start from scratch. Maybe I have something in Maximo Classic that I want to capitalize. Well, we list those for you here. In my case, I'm looking at an asset object, so any filters, application queries assigned to the asset application are shown to me here, or I can select from any that I've built with my existing data sets. I'm going to select this one here, again, in the interest of time. Let's give this a simple name. I'm just going to call it Asset Demo Test. This is our Asset Demo Test, and I'm going to click Save. When I click Save, it's going to give me a number of different actions. These same actions are available on my Work Center, so I'll go there so you can see how the pieces all come into play. I'll navigate down here. Here's our Asset Demo Test. So from here, I can edit. If I say, oh, darn, I should have added another field, I can do that here. Delete, I can export it to CSV. And also, if I come back here, I can export that content to Watson. So in my case, I have 2 accounts set up, so he's going to prompt me to make sure I put it in the right Watson account. And while that's loading, let me quickly open up the CSV file so we can take a look at what we actually created here. So we have some asset numbers, type, install date, total cost, total downtime, etc. Well, let's go over to Watson and see if we can't bring up that particular data set. So I'm just going to reload my page here, and while my page is reloading, I can start to see that Maximo automatically pushed over my content really quickly. And again, the size is going to depend on how many fields you actually have within your data set and how large that is. Well, let's not do anything with it, and let's have Watson do some work here. And so I'm simply going to come to my Discover portion, open up that CSV file that I just added, and I'm going to let Watson do the work for me. Let's start to look at some of this information. Well, this might be pretty interesting. What's the trend of my asset total cost over the installation date by type? Wow, I didn't do anything at all. Added a couple fields, pushed them over, and then Watson gives me this phenomenal chart that I can analyze. This is really interesting, but maybe is there something else? Well, let's pick site instead. So now what is this telling me? My total cost I can see is pretty high over here for some of my particular sites, in this case Shenzhen, but Shenzhen has relatively new assets. Over here, I have another high cost. This is associated with Detroit, and it's got lower assets. So I can continue to work with these, or I can utilize any of the discoveries over here that Watson presents to me. How do the values at total downtime and total cost? That one doesn't really tell me too much. I think because I'm looking at such a large segment of data. So let me quickly grab another one. Again, what are the values of total cost? Let's take downtime, and instead of a day, days are always difficult to look at. Oh goodness, let me scroll down here a minute and see if I can find a year. Yeah, let's grab the year of the install date. Ah, beautiful. Much easier to look at. So my values of my asset total downtime, by the install date of the assets. Whew, how phenomenal a graph is this? In just a matter of minutes, I can quickly tell that my downtime is most for my oldest assets, which I expect, but also for some of my relatively newer assets. Definitely something I want to investigate. So think of all the power and the insight that we now have available. So again, the newer features that we added in the Maximo7606 release for our business analyst, we updated the Dataset Library, we've delivered content, but also most importantly, enabled you to create new content with the Dataset Designer. There's new navigation capabilities available, and within the Dataset Library, you now have the ability to edit your content, delete it. You also can, again, export it to CSV and Watson. And then what I haven't showed you, but what you're going to be so excited to see, is the Watson Storybooks. And Watson Storybooks is another component of Watson where we can analyze data, but we start with a format or a template. We start with a story looking at a particular area. And we'll show that again in subsequent releases. So again, so excited for Maximo 7606. Hope you all can take a chance to look at it and get familiar with the great capabilities that it offers. Thank you so much for your time.